Big news as of today, the US has hit Canada with some pretty hefty tariffs. 25% on most goods, 10% on energy, and it's stirring the pot. Trump's pushing this, Canada's pushing back, and it's a tense moment for both economies. In this video, I'm going to break down what's really happening from a Canadian perspective and how it affects your wallet. Here's the situation. On March 4th, President Trump rolled out a 25% tariff on nearly all Canadian exports to the US. 10% on energy after the 30-day negotiation window expired. It's tied to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, officially aimed at fentanyl smuggling and illegal migration across our border. Some critics say it's more of an economic power move, but Canada's response was swift. 25% tariffs on $30 billion of US goods, effective immediately, with plans to target another $125 billion in just 21 days if the US doesn't back off. That's over 70% of our $167 billion in annual exports to them. Trudeau called it a trade war Americans didn't sign up for and urged Canadians to buy local. On X, it's intense. Ontario's auto sector, which ships $50 billion in parts yearly, could collapse fast. Some provinces are even threatening to cut power exports. 20% of US Northeast grids rely on us. TD Economic warns a 6-month standoff could push Canadian unemployment past 7%, with US prices rising too. Talks might be on the horizon, but for now, it's a standoff.
Remember, this is not a trade war. This is a drug war. We've got fentanyl still pouring into the country, and it's got to stop. So what's happened is they're showing us even more ways to try to stop the flow of fentanyl. And if they can stop the flow of fentanyl, the president is open-minded. There are going to be tariffs, let's be clear. But what he is thinking about is which sections of the market that can maybe he'll consider giving them relief until we get to, of course, April 2nd. But I don't want anybody to forget, April 2nd is the day that we announce our reciprocal tariffs around the world. And so April 2nd is coming, but this is about fentanyl this month.
Lutnick's framing this as a drug war, not just trade. Fentanyl's the headline, with 70,000 US overdose deaths linked to it yearly, much crossing our border. I see the logic. Our border security has been lax, and Trudeau hasn't cracked down hard enough. I think Trump's open to easing it up if we fix it, which could save us from the full tariff hit. April 2nd looms, though that's when the global reciprocal tariffs kick in, per Trump's plan. For Canada, this is a chance to get serious about security and maybe dodge a bigger bullet.
Canada holds this big press conference where the outgoing leader guy, Trudeau, warns Americans that this is going to hurt them too.
We don't want this. We want to work with you as a friend and ally. And we don't want to see you hurt either. But your government has chosen to do this to you.
Who does this guy thinking? I mean, it's the arrogance. First off, dude, don't talk to me like you're some great leader that I should be looking up to you. Okay, the only thing that's up is the fact that you are longitudinally above us. You got booted by your own people. Canada will have to come to the table long before America will. Canada has a GDP of $2 trillion. US dollars too, not those Canadian dollars. Our GDP in America is 30 or almost $30 trillion, and 80% of Canada's exports are to us.
Higbee's not mixing words. Trudeau's press conference was a plea to Americans, but to me, it just seems desperate and will fall far short of the mark. He's right on the numbers though. 80% of our $400 billion in exports go to the US, while they send us $350 billion. Our GDP's $2 trillion. Theirs is $30 trillion. Canada's counter tariffs, $30 billion now, $125 billion later. Sound tough, but we're outmatched. As a right-leaning Canadian, I'd argue this exposes Trudeau's weak hand. Higbee says we'll cave first, and he's probably right. Our economy can't take this long. but it could push us to diversify, cut reliance on the US, and build some real economic muscle if we get a stronger leader at the helm. It's not going to be hard to find a stronger leader than Trudeau, that's for sure.
I know there might be a little bit of pinch in the pocketbook for a bit while these tariffs work themselves out, but in the long run, Greg, do you believe that these tariffs and what President Trump's doing will benefit the American consumer and our economy?
Yeah, 100%. You're already seeing that in what you highlighted of car manufacturers bringing their manufacturing to the United States. Finally going to put America first. We're going to bring back manufacturing to the United States.
Holman admits the short-term pain. U.S. consumers will feel it with prices up 5 to 10% on Canadian goods, per early estimates. For them, it's paying off. Car manufacturers are shifting south, chasing that $140 billion trade deficit with Mexico and $40 billion with us. From a Canadian conservative view, it's a reality check. 75% of our exports lean on the US, and that's too cozy. This could force us to rethink, boost domestic manufacturing, maybe even use those threatened power cuts, 20 gigawatts annually, to negotiate smarter. It's America first, sure, but it might just spark a Canada first pivot too. Where's this all heading? It's Trudeau versus Trump, with $155 billion in tariffs already flying and more on the table. X shows the stakes: job losses, power plays, boycotts. Economists predict rough waters, but Trump's team hints at talks. I do see a silver lining: tighter borders, less US dependence, a chance to stand taller, but only if we ditch our weak leadership. Will it crash our economy or force a deal? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit like if you're following this. Subscribe for more and tap the bell for the next update. I'm Glenn Zacher. Thanks for watching, because it's your money.